Hey everyone, I've been riding motorcycles for a year officially, and let me tell you everything I've learned, and yeah, it's been an entire year. It's crazy. Feels like I just got my license and just got my second bike, and now I want a third. She is very dirty. It rained a couple days ago, so just don't look at it. I'm gonna start this off with don't be afraid of rain, because rain isn't as scary as I thought it would be. Now, if you're not careful, yes, you could have some issues, but I was like, oh my gosh, the second it rains, everyone just starts falling all over the place. And it's not like that. You still have traction and everything, unless you're doing something stupid like going too much on your rear brake, but theoretically ABS should save you from that. This bike does not have ABS, so I've had problems with that. But don't be afraid of the rain. It is not as scary as it looks. Just ride slower, do everything at a slower pace, and you'll be all right. You know, don't be scared of the rain, because I was for a very long time until I've ridden in the rain several times. And light rain isn't bad, but when it gets like pouring and you can't see 10 feet in front of you, that's when it's scary, and don't ride at those times. But just like drizzling rain or just like light rain, don't be scared of it. The ground is wet. Do everything slower. My next one is gonna be always wear gear. I know you're told this on every step of the way, but there's a chance you go and ride tomorrow and you'll crash. It's likely, highly likely, unfortunately. It is very dangerous riding a motorcycle, and it is not worth just that one time not worth it wearing gear, because what if that's the one time you crash? I always wear gear. The only like protective gear I don't wear, which I guess I should go get another pair of jeans. My other pair is too small, but like riding jeans. I usually just wear normal jeans. Yes, not very safe. Jeans get just shredded at the first chance they get. You know what? I would recommend riding jeans, but personally that is the only pair of gear I don't ride with is riding jeans, because my other pair is way too small for me now. So I've been wearing normal jeans recently, but when I wore riding jeans, I felt much more safe. So yeah, wear full gear. It's not worth it just wearing nothing. So always wear gear. All right, this next one I'm gonna say because I got sucked into it, right? Don't have brand loyalty. Why? You know, like I've looked at it, like as I've ridden, and after my first bike, I was like, I gotta get a Harley. Everyone has a Harley, and that's the brand. When you're riding a motorcycle, everyone's like, Harley. That's just the brand everyone knows. But after riding it, I'd rather go with the Kawasaki, man. I can't lie. The Kawasaki like Vulcan, that's gonna be my next cruiser. The next bike I want to get is the ZX-10, but I am working on selling this thing right now. I like to just trade, try new things, try new bikes. I always like to be on something new. So I'm gonna sell this, take the money from that, and buy probably a ZX-10. I was looking at one from like 2011. The prices are, you just sell this one, buy a different one. But I feel like that's just the fun of motorcycling. You get tired of a bike, you sell it, and you move on to the next one, you know? I think that's what I'm currently trying to do. I no longer have brand loyalty like I did when I first started riding. Like Harley is the only option, you know? Yeah, so that mindset for me has changed. So don't have brand loyalty. Harley's not everything. They're very old machines, right? 2004 and it's still carbureted. Find a brand you like, but don't be stuck to that brand and that's the only thing you can buy and that's the only thing you'll like. Don't do it that way. So one of the weirdest things to me when I first started riding is we were doing some of the different rides around Arizona, and it's a lot of weaving back and forth, you know? And you can lean so much further than you think you can. Doesn't matter what bike you're on, doesn't matter any of that. You can lean way further than you think you can. When I was first started riding and I was on my Honda Rebel 500, I was like leaning, and after the ride, Joe would be like, hey dude, you know you could go a lot further, right? Like he's like, you have so much more you could go. Now on the Harley, I am limited. I've scraped my floorboards twice on a couple different rides, so I have hit the limit of this bike, but on majority of bikes you can lean so much further than you could think. And don't be scared of scraping pegs or scraping floorboards. I was at first, I was like, oh, what if I scrape, I'll fall. But no, I've scraped. It is totally fine. Don't be scared of it. You can lean so much further than you think. Going to Walmart when you have a bike is so much more fun than just driving a car. Motorcycles are just a ton of fun in general, but you'll just find yourself as you ride more and more, you're like, I just want to take the bike. I don't want to take a car. And some people just go with bikes and think it's cheaper, but it's actually not cheaper sometimes. It depends on how you do it, right? If you buy the bike for like a couple grand, right? But then you're gonna spend $500 on a helmet, you're gonna go spend $500 on like a jacket. Not that much. All the prices can differ depending on what you get, but the jacket, the pants, the shoes, everything's expensive. Getting a bike isn't always cheaper, but depending on how you do it, it can be cheaper if you just sell your car and buy a bike. It's always nice having a car because, you know, on those really, really rainy days when you still gotta go somewhere, it's just nice to take the car sometimes. And after riding a motorcycle for a long time, well, I guess not a long time, a year, when I get inside of a car, I'm so much more alert and aware of motorcycles and of the road. Like when I used to drive, it just used to be like go through the intersection, but now when I go through an intersection, I'm like look both ways. Like it's different. You don't understand until you ride. You just start paying more attention. You start being safer even when you're in a car. So definitely bikes have changed me, and the way I drive and ride. Everything's safer. Don't take risks. The other nice thing about going to the grocery store on a motorcycle is you get the front row parking. Parking benefits is my next one. You could just pull right in that front area. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But there's like that front area where there's poles. You just go through, you park right there, and then you come out, get in, go out. So you don't actually park in the parking lot. Now, some places don't actually allow that. Actually, a lot of places don't allow that. You get a lot of parking benefits. So that's a pretty cool thing. Like even at malls and stuff, they'll have motorcycle parking. At the tops of some of the rides, like there's a couple rides around here, and at the top there's motorcycle parking. Like motorcycle parking is very nice. I enjoy it. So one thing I've gotten used to, and that's using both brakes. We got my dad his bike for his birthday, and I was the one to ride it home and bring it home because we were surprising him. And when I got on his bike, right, I've never sat on a bike where your feet go back. I've only had, my Honda Rebel was mid controls, I think they call it. And then my Harley is front controls. I've never had, I think they call it rear controls. I don't know all the terminology or anything. I was surprised because I like reached for the brake, but it wasn't in like the same spot. So it like tripped me out, and I didn't use the back brake and I just used the front brake. And I gotta tell you, that is the weirdest feeling. Nothing gets weirder than not using the back brake because your stopping is so much worse. Always use both brakes. Your stopping is so much better. I think it's 70% of your braking is your front brake, and then the other 30% is your rear brake. And I also use a lot of engine braking to slow down. I've heard certain bikes don't have that. Both the bikes I have just roll off the throttle, and it's actually really good engine brake. I don't know, but I use the rear brake every time I go out. But I've heard some people only use like the front brake, or some Harley riders, because the front brake reservoir will leak and the front brake will be really bad. Some people just use the back brake. I'm like, what? Both brakes? I don't know how I could do it without using both brakes because I'm just so used to using both brakes. Yeah, that's just something I've learned over riding a couple bikes here and there is use both brakes, because if you don't, it feels really, really weird and your stopping is much, much worse. So a couple weeks ago, I took my windscreen off, and because I wanted to feel what everything was like without it, even though my Honda Rebel didn't have one. I didn't get much of a feel of freeways on that bike, but I took this off a couple weeks ago. In town, it was much nicer because you got a nice breeze on you, and it was just very chilling. Like it felt more real when you were riding. It's hard to explain. It's nice in town not to have the windscreen, but then when I hopped on the highway, it's like, whoa, like I'm trying to hold myself on the bike. I wish it was like a quick release system, so if I know I'm not going to be doing much highways, take it off, you know, enjoy the nice breeze on me. Because I used to put down, like, I have two visors, so there's a drop down sun visor, yeah, I think that's what they call it. Drop down sun visor, and then there's my clear normal visor over the top. When I put down just my sun visor on my Honda Rebel, my eyes would tear up and I couldn't like see very well. I'd have to put the other one down too. But on this bike, I have to have my other one open and only my sun one down, because it just doesn't get enough and it fogs up and it's bad. So that's pretty much the list of things I've learned. There's a couple other little things, like just be safe, have fun. Riding is a ton of fun as long as you do it safe, and it's a blast. It really is. I can't wait to get my next bike, and it's just fun. Go out and have fun, do some rides with friends. I want to go meet more friends that have bikes, because I have like my grandpa and his whole group, and it's fun to get out and ride with them. But I kind of want to find like more people who ride. So go to events, that's another good one. Events are a ton of fun. They have some at Harley-Davidson. Bike week was this week. I haven't gone, sadly, but been kind of busy recently with just doing work and everything. And that is pretty much everything I've learned in the last year, and I thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.